5 of the greatest analog LPs of all time. Making a record is kind of like making a pizza, with a shout out to Delfina Pizzeria. I think they have 5 locations in the San Francisco Bay Area. Their main restaurant, Delfina, is one of my all-time favorite restaurants in San Francisco. It is closed for a renovation or rebuild. It'll open in the fall. I am not sponsored by Delfina, but I friggin' love Delfina. Anyway, making a record is like a pizza. Different ingredients in, the way you cook it, the way you bake it. Do you use a fire roasted? Do you use a baker? There's all, anyway. Do you put pineapple on it? But anyway, Delfina makes a Neapolitan, very kind of crispy burnt on the edges, kind of that kind of, I love it. There are other great pizzas. I'm just here, Delfina. Anyway, I bring that analogy of pizza. I've been doing a lot of food analogies with the bananas and organic and not, and it brings us back to this whole mobile fidelity thing, which was officially revealed today, that going back as early as, and maybe before 2008, some or more of their vinyl mastering mobile fidelity records have a DSD, a digital step. I'm not going to get into that today. I have a lot of MoFis, and I actually like them. So even though I think they're disingenuous and they kind of like, I hate to call out them as liars, but they probably lied to us. But they bent the truth, disingenuous, as I've said before. Anyway, now we know, and so we can make our choice. But I still like those records today. The sound of them was yesterday. But I wanted to pick 5 truly amazing sounding analog records from my collection to show you all. And these will never get a 1-step or a 2-step or a 3-step toodaloo ever, I doubt. So let me start out with the great Living Stereo album, Chet Atkins in Hollywood. Look at that beautiful view, looking down on Los Angeles with that beautiful Chet Atkins Gretsch Country Gentleman guitar. I believe that's the Country Gentleman, right? But I actually saw Chet Atkins once. Oh, one of the greatest guitar players of all time. Obviously, those of you who know vinyl and know real analog, like and enjoy the Living Stereo series. Wonderfully recorded records. And this is one also. This one was purchased at the Palms Music Center in Palm Center, Houston, Texas. That looks like a long time ago, boy. And that is the stereo version. Now, I will say, for those of you of a certain ilk, of a certain maybe sex, you would prefer the alternate cover of this record, which I only have in mono, unfortunately. But this is Chet Atkins in Hollywood. I think this should be the thumbnail. This will get me clicks. This will be a clickbait. That's some album cover in Hollywood. Look at that. How much is that guitar in the window? Oh, you didn't notice there was a guitar on the cover. Okay, we'll figure that out later. Anyway, interesting that they had 2 alternative covers. Now, I don't know the pedigree and the history, which came first, or this was the more, obviously in Texas in those days, this is probably the one they got. And then probably the more urban kind of, well, whatever, Anyway, great analog record. Wow. Love it. Okay. Columbia Stereo. Another great analog album, Jimmy Dean, Big Bad John. Very much in the vein of the Tennessee Ford kind of low song with the minimal great studio musicians, and this is a fantastic sounding record, a great analog record. Big Bad John, Big John. There's that whole period of sort of storytelling type of songs like this. Big John, Tennis Rennie Forge did some. Who else? Lauren Green from Bonanza. He lay face down on the desert sand, clutching a 6-gun in his hand. From up top, I thought he was dead, but under his heart was an ounce of lead. Ringo. Love that. I have that album too, but I didn't pick it for this one. That would have been number 6. But Big Bad John and other fabulous songs and tales, including Smoke, Smoke, Smoke That Cigarette. Ba-da-ba-ba. I think Bob Wills did that, but obviously years later, Commander Cody and his Lost Planet Airmen. And this is a demonstration, stamped, not for sale. So it's all analog and it's wonderful. Now, I have to go with the British invasion or a reaction to the British invasion with Nancy in London, produced by the great low-throated voice, singer, producer, arranger, writer of Lee Hazelwood, and that is Nancy in London. It's probably the back lot at Universal or something. Warner Brothers, of course it would be Warner Brothers. I doubt she took this in London. This is great because Friday's Child's a great song, and it says recorded in London. Mea culpa, I made a mistake. I take out a slice of the pizza, the London section. So basically, if this album was made today, they could have taken the pizza and literally put it on the sidewalk at Oxford Circle and bake that pizza. It's like 150 degrees in London today. So I'm sorry, those of you who are watching in the UK. She also does a great version, of Wishin' and Hopin', made famous by the great Dusty Springfield. Summer Wine, that is a wonderful duet with the great Lee Hazelwood. And he wrote a lot of these songs. He wrote Boots, My Boots Were Made for Walking, but analog. She has one step off that buzz. Get it? See what I did there? One step? Okay. Next, there's a whole cliche of, whipped cream and other delights. And I'm not going to show whipped cream. Don't worry. You're going to be spared of that record. Although, great recorded record with the nice faux Spanish trumpeter who's actually Jewish, Herb Alpert. And this is Herb Alpert, the Tijuana Brass, What Now My Love. He covered these great classic songs with that kind of, south of the border flair with the Wrecking Crew and other musicians behind it, of course. For the photograph, who knows who these cats are? Somebody probably knows, I don't know. I'm sure he toured with them, but What Now My Love, Freckles, I think that was probably an original, so what's new? But this has the fabulous, amazing Broadway hit from Fiddler on the Roof. If I were a rich man, bitty, 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 bum. Of course, it's a instrumental version a la Herb Alpert's great trumpet playing. So, there's a little Jew in every Mexicana album here. And also ends with the shadow of your smile. Which pizza ingredient is that? Anyway, great analog recordings. These are great analog recordings. And of course, it's on that fabulous, that color A&M records. That's the one you want to get. You don't want to get the 70s ones for these records recorded in the 60s. So that's that. And lastly, analog from the 1950s. To me, one of the greatest pop, cross-country, teen idol, rock and roll singers, and I'm serious about this, actually, and I've said that on my channel before, is the great Ricky Nelson. He is the real deal. He sang with the Jordanaires occasionally from Elvis. He's a contemporary of Elvis, and he was considered the teen idol because of his baby blue eyes and his looks on the TV show Ozzie and Harriet. But he made some fabulous records on the Imperial label and fantastic analog recordings. This is the real deal. And this is autographed by Ricky Nelson, pre-Piper Cub failure. This was from the Coleman collection, so it's autographed, but it was autographed in 1980 because there was a ticket to the San Mateo County Fair general admission from 1980, a ticket to Rick Nelson and the Stone Canyon Band. Remember that song, Yoko and her walrus? And it's all right now, learn my lesson well. You can't fool everyone if you gotta do yourself. What's that song? You know that. Anyway, that's a great kind of comeback song. Unfortunately, died way too young, but fantastic. Ricky sings again. Analog. I'm so choked up about this like digital step on those new records. Oh, we're all freaking out. Heads are exploding in the world. But Imperial, and again from the Coleman collection. And thank you, Coleman, for this. But I'm going to hang this up over my bed maybe. Look at that guy. Anyway, all analog. 5 great all analog records. I got so over it. Excited today. I'm gonna go have some pizza now. So Delfina Pizza, San Francisco, 5 locations in the greater Bay Area, Palo Alto, Burlingame, 16th Street, no, not 16th Street, 18th Street in the Mission District, and California Street and Fillmore, and I think on Mission Street, right next to, around the corner from the Museum of Modern Art. I am not a paid shill. I just like the people and Delfina Pizza. So Mazzy loves you, and it's time to listen to those great records right now. I'm going to play every single one this afternoon. Take care.